I got rejected and failed a lot. I really hate reliving these events, but I'll share anything with you guys. I'll start with 4 stories and provide some life lessons I learned from it, so let's get right into it. In high school, I was part of a debate club and attended a debate competition. We all had to select a topic to talk about, and I picked a pretty controversial topic. My teacher said that our chances of getting selected to speak were very slim, so that's why I didn't take the competition seriously. So I prepared 0 notes and 0 effort into it. But my luck laughed at my face because I ended up getting selected to represent my team. During the debate competition, I pretty much BS'd the whole speech, rambling whatever I could think of in my tiny brain. When it was the opposing side's turn to speak, he pretty much crushed me with his prepared notes and awesome arguments. He got fancy, having a laptop, index cards, and a whole PowerPoint presentation ready. I had 1 piece of paper ripped from an elementary school notebook. You can imagine the massacre of this debate. After the debate, it was time for both sides to vote for the winning speaker. As expected, the guy against me won. But the most humiliating part was that even my own team voted for the other guy. I just stared at my teacher, friends, classmates in betrayal. I think I was experiencing everyone's worst fears, a failed public speaking event. But I have to say that it's still my fault because I didn't prepare anything and my speech was really awful. Lessons learned? Always prepare. Some preparation beats non-preparation. Prepare for anything regardless of how much you don't care. Just try your best. Practice. Always practice as though it's the real thing. Reflect on yourself. Every single humiliating moment is a moment of reflection, an opportunity to learn. I don't usually talk about relation stuff on here, so this is kind of weird, but feel free to skip to the next story because who wants to know about your love life, right? Ew. There was this one guy that I was really good friends with. Even all of our friends were rooting for us or shipped us. They all convinced me that this guy liked me for sure and that he was just too shy to ask me out. And I also discovered that he was going to move away soon, so I wanted to do something before it was too late. So I decided that I would just ask him out myself. I was so confident and certain. That's why I asked him out on Facebook Messenger. Such confidence, right? But he told me that he only saw me as a friend and there was a girl that he liked already. At that moment, I felt so stupid and humiliated at the same time. Lessons learned? Don't be afraid to be bold. The guy doesn't always have to ask the girl out. Even though I still cringe at that memory, I don't have any regrets because that gave me closure. I would rather have known that he didn't like me than waste more time and energy emotionally. Don't listen to rumors. Everyone's perception is different. In my case, just because all my friends thought and assumed that he liked me does not mean that it's automatically true. My first job was a physical therapy aide. Our main duty was to assist physical therapists and treating patients who had injuries. When I was under training, I didn't really understand the instructions that were given to me. When the people asked me if I had any questions or wanted retraining, I didn't want to look stupid, so I just said I understood everything. Side note, one of our main tasks was to use a machine to help patients called a stim machine. To put it simply, this was used to treat injuries by giving off a stimulation or stinging feeling. But I didn't really know how to adjust it properly because stupid me said I understood everything when I clearly didn't. So on the first week of working, I accidentally turned up the machine to maximum power on one of the patients. Yes, you can cringe. I ended up shocking the patient. But like a electrifying feeling. The patient screamed and jumped from pain, and she never came back after that. I guess I had scarred her for life. I'm so sorry. You can imagine the anger I received from my boss. Honestly, I'm surprised I wasn't even fired. Lessons learned? Learn from the basics first. If you're lost, then go back to the basics. Don't just jump to the advanced stuff when you're unsure. Take notes while you're learning. I made the mistake of thinking that I could just mentally remember everything that was explained and given to me. I honestly would have understood much faster if I had just wrote it down. This is the most important one. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask a lot of questions, especially if you're not sure before you make a decision on anything. You won't look stupid, especially if you're new at the job. Even if you do look stupid, who cares? You're new at the job. You're just trying to get better. Everyone always appreciates effort and hard work more. I face shiny object syndrome when I heard from a bunch of finance YouTubers that starting an e-commerce business would be profitable. So I decided to give it a try, and I did some research and concluded that I wanted to try dropshipping. I won't go into a lot of detail on that, but I used eBay as my primary platform. The first few months of my business went pretty well. I made about 1K off of it. But then I began to realize I was spending way too much time and energy on it. I had to deal with everything: shipping, processing orders, customer service, product like research, etc., the return on investment was just not worth it. Not to mention, the main thing was that I did not enjoy it. I felt overwhelmed, burnt out, and stressed from all the customers that kept messaging me. It made me realize that this business was just not for me. To make matters worse, a lot of orders didn't process properly and I had to pay a lot of taxes too, so I ended up losing a lot of money too. Lessons learned: measure your ROI. Think about these questions. How much time and energy are you putting into it? Does the return make it worth it? What's your why? Find the reason you want to do this. Do you really want to do this, or do you feel like you have to do this? It's okay to change paths. I don't really have regrets about giving this a try because now I know what I don't want. But I do wish I hadn't wasted so much time and energy on it and instead focused on YouTube and blogging more. But I'm so glad I made the switch because I find this work so much more fulfilling. The main takeaway I would get from this is to not allow your failures, mistakes, and humiliation stop you from anything. Let me know if you guys want me to go more in detail on these stories or talk more about other stories. And let me know if you guys have any stories to share on your failures, mistakes, or humiliations too. Don't forget to check out some of these other videos. I got some other life lessons and stories to tell. Thanks for watching. Let's keep learning and growing.